How's it going, everyone? Eric here. Most of my time the last couple days have been spent studying court documents, reading tweets, reading reports. I wanted to bring someone onto the show who actually watched the start of the trial with their own two eyes, who can paint the picture more clearly. I would like to welcome now friend of the show, Peter Stratta, onto Out of the Groove. Peter, it's great to see you. How you doing, man?
Doing great, Eric. Monday was a long day to say the least. I did not think it would go until 5 p.m., but it did, and I'm sure it will every day as long as this trial goes on. They say estimated for 2 weeks, but there's no promise they stick to that. It could go till Christmas or even longer for all we know.
What's crazy is I saw there are dozens of names on the potential witness list, and I think we're 2 days in and we've gotten through most of two witnesses. So the math on that, it's if we're averaging a witness a day, we could be here a while, depending. But Peter, yeah, I know you were there first thing Monday morning. I want to start there because, again, we've poured over a lot of the quotes, the data. Standing outside the courtroom early Monday morning, Charlotte, North Carolina, there's other members of the usual NASCAR media corps there. What was the mood like? What was the atmosphere waiting for everyone to arrive?
So everyone walking in seemed very somber, not really talkative or cheerful. Obviously, it's a very serious matter going on, very high emotions from all sides, and definitely felt not like the vibe at all. I'm used to seeing these people around at a typical race weekend. Definitely everyone out of their element, definitely a lot of fish out of ponds.
Well, once you got into the courtroom, what was the energy like in there? I know when we had talked, or you had sent a comment in our live stream yesterday that the mood was very kind of, again, very solemn, very, very focused. But how did it change once everyone got seated and proceedings began?
I think once the jurors realized who all was in the courtroom, mostly Michael Jordan, that definitely changed things. But
Really?
as far as the people actually involved in the case, it was very neutral, very muted, very just men and women with a plan and not exactly here to exchange pleasantries or anything. Very focused, very minute.
I'm curious because when Jeffrey Kessler, the team's attorney, when he kind of introduced some of the key players on his side, when Michael Jordan stood up, did you get like were there any rustling in the room? Like did you feel like that carried a lot of weight?
Absolutely. And I'm not sure off the top of my head how tall Michael is, but he may as well have been 10 feet tall when he was standing. And you could tell that he took an extra second just to pause and have everyone realize who this is. I know Gluck and Bianchi mentioned this as well on their show, but that's when I think everything really set in that, oh crap, this is the Michael Jordan, not someone with a similar name.
Yeah, there's the old ESPN commercial of like the guy named Michael Jordan, but it's just some guy, and it's like, man, that is a common name. There's got to be a lot of Michael Jordans out there that aren't the Michael Jordan. Shout out to any Michael Jordans who may be watching us right now. Well, you referenced Gluck and Bianchi. They made a comment about the jury on one of their first episodes of The Teardown this week, mentioned how it seemed some of their eyes were glazing over, trying to learn all this NASCAR lingo, antitrust verbiage for the first time. Did you see any of that as well? Did you watch the jury at all in the opening hours of this case? And how did you feel they responded to things?
I think a lot of the opening comments may have gone over their heads. They're not racing insiders or racing fans like you and I are, or like our audience is here. So ultimately, they are having to learn a lot of intricacies, a lot of details about this sport, how it runs, and then on top of that, antitrust law. And that's not exactly the most entertaining thing to learn about. So, yeah, a lot of blank faces, a lot of tiredness, a lot of nonchalantness, any adjective you want to use there like that.
So there's six main jurors, and then there's three alternates, but are all nine like in the room?
Yes, the bench has all nine jurors in it.
Okay, that's good to know. Peter, I know you're from North Carolina, or you live in North Carolina. You would consider yourself a North Carolinian, and I do think that's something that's somewhat gotten lost, maybe until this week. But like at the end of the day, these two attorneys, their teams, they have to appeal to this jury of North Carolinians. And, Jeffrey Kessler, you hear him talk, he sounds like a big New York businessman. I haven't heard as much from Chris Yates, but I know some of NASCAR's people, like, presentation's going to matter. The bit you saw, how do you feel the two endeared themselves in the short time they've had so far?
So the who was representing NASCAR yesterday was John E. Stevenson, and I feel like head to head, him versus Kessler. Kessler won that battle. He just seemed more animated, more lively, played to the crowd more. I hate saying theatrical, but kind of theatrical, kind of just was more entertaining to listen to, maybe dumb things down a bit better, but definitely with as Stevenson's opening statement went onward, it definitely got tedious and got kind of repetitive and I just don't want to say boring, but kind of down that path.
That's good to know because that I think that is going to matter again when you're not only trying to convince a jury with evidence, but there is an emotional appeal as well, and you want to keep the audience engaged. That's super interesting. Well, Peter, I know neither of us here are legal experts per se. We both obviously cover NASCAR very closely, but in the time you've spent in the courtroom so far, did either side elicit any sort of notable response from either the judge or the jury at any point that you recall seeing?
Not as much from those two parties, but I know whenever Denny joked when he was first asked, "Did you graduate high school?" and he said, "I got a diploma," that got a laugh out of MJ. And then I think one of the potential jurors said, "I had family that went to NC State, a rival school to UNC," and MJ chuckled at that too. So I've seen some reaction out of MJ, obviously the plaintiff in this case, but nothing of the sort from the judge or the jury.
Good to know. Well, really interesting stuff. Definitely helps paint a little clearer picture of what's gone down so far. Obviously, yeah, potentially still a long way to go, especially if we keep going at this one witness a day rate. That's things have slowed down quite a bit. Peter, thank you so much for being on. Folks, you can follow Peter Stratta on X. I'll link his X account down below. Also, Peter's on YouTube and will post a lot of great interview clips throughout the NASCAR season. Peter, thank you so much for joining us here for a few minutes. We might talk to you again here soon if this keeps going on the way it's going on. Thanks, man.
My pleasure, Eric. Thanks for having me.